Hello everyone, it's Refresh, and I'm here to build yet another Core Set 2019 sealed deck. I'll be opening these 6 packs, taking a look at what we got, evaluating the cards, and then building a deck. So let's get started. We have a Cancel, Hostile Minotaur, Knight's Pledge, Anticipate, Macabre Waltz, Colossal Dreadmaw, Marauder's Axe, Cavalry Drillmaster, Shock, Blood Divination, Militia Bugler, Hieromancer's Cage, Leonin War Leader, Make a Stand, a Forest and Angel token. Pack number 2, we have a Loxodon Linebreaker, a Disperse, a Trumpet Blast, a Revitalize, Titanic Growth, Infectious Horror, Highland Game, Two-Headed Zombie, Naturalize, Luminous Bonds, Inferno Hellion, Enigma Drake, Departed Deckhand, Demon of Catastrophes, a Island and a Thopter token. Pack number 3, we have a Gearsmith Prodigy, a Fire Elemental, an Oresco Swiftclaw, Divination, Greenwood Sentinel, Centaur Courser, Vampire Neonate, Aven Windmage, Explosive Apparatus, Vine Mare, Lightning Mare, Volcanic Dragon, Remorseful Cleric, Rogue's Gloves, Shiny, Tranquil Expanse, and a Knight. Pack 4 gets us an Omen Speaker, a Lava Axe, a Mind Rot, a Bristling Boar, a Thornhide Wolves, a Pegasus Courser, a Smelt, Druid of the Cowl, Sky Scanner, Snapping Drake, Bone to Ash, Exclusion Mage, a Brawl Bash Ogre, a Magistrate's Scepter, a Nicol Bolas the Ravager flip card, check card, and a Zombie token. Pack 5 gets us a Knight of the Tusk, a Tolarian Scholar, an Anake Ogre, a Plummet, a Two-Headed Zombie, a Lich's Caress, a Manolith, a Hate Vengeance, a Ghost Form, Electrify, Psychic Corrosion, Rogue's Gloves, Gargoyle Sentinel, Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, Forsaken Sanctuary, and a Cat token. And our final pack gets us a Revitalize, a Frilled Sea Serpent, a Lava Axe, a Two-Headed Zombie, a Rocks Oracle, Sovereign Bite, Havoc Devils, Thornhide Wolves, Gallant Cavalry, Skeleton Archer, Dragon Egg, Knightly Valor, Gargoyle Sentinel, Magistrate's Scepter, a Double-Faced Nicol Bolas card, and a Knight token. And so that's everything that we opened. Let's take a look at each color. White looked really promising from the start. Knightly Valor is actually one of the very few really good auras out there. Gallant Cavalry is a decent body because you get 2 bodies for the price of 1. I like both of these. I think Revitalize is terrible. I think Take Vengeance is a decent removal spell if you need one. Knight of the Tusk is not especially inspiring. I wouldn't play it unless I really needed the blocker, and so I think it's more a sideboard card. Pegasus Courser is great. I like this card. It's evasive. So is Remorseful Cleric, 2 power flying for 2 mana is great. Oresco Swiftclaw is good with the Pegasus Courser. It's not like a wonderful card, but I would play it in an aggressive deck. Luminous Bonds is premium removal. Revitalize again, terrible. Loxodon Linebreaker is a mediocre card. I would play it as filler if I needed. Make a Stand is a not especially great combat trick, but it's something that can be played if you need it, and it's shiny. Leonin War Leader is a bomb, so this is making white very playable, as well as Hieromancer's Cage, which is also removal that can be reused. Militia Bugler is also a pretty good card. It draws you a card, possibly, and I do appreciate that as well. Cavalry Drillmaster is also a decent card as well, as far as 2-drops go. So right now, white is looking quite good. Knight's Pledge is not really that playable, so we'll put this at the bottom here. So white is looking really good. We have some premium removal, some evasive cards, some decent additional cards, and Leonin War Leader and a bomb, and so I really like white. It is a color that I'm definitely considering playing. Let's take a look at blue. With blue, we get a Frilled Sea Serpent, which is just a worst case scenario game ender. Psychic Corrosion, which only really works if you're playing the mill deck, and I don't think we can play a mill deck in sealed. Ghost Form is, if you're playing aggressive spells deck, maybe it's a way to get through it at the end, but I don't love it either. Tolarian Scholar is a sideboard blocker, I guess. Exclusion Mage is really good tempo. Bone Dash is decent in terms of preventative removal, I guess. Snapping Drake is an okay beater. Omen Speaker, I think, is a good crown blocker, and it does help fix the draws, so I do appreciate Omen Speaker. I think Avon's Windmage is good and evasive, good, especially good in spells deck. Divination is good card draw. Gearsmith Prodigy is only good if you're playing the artifact deck, and this is probably not it. We have another really good evasive card in a Departed Deck Cancel, I like that. And then we have Disperse as a tempo card. It goes well. It's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. And Anticipate is a way to improve your card draw. Best in a spells deck, which this does not look like right now, so I'm not really keen on it. And then Cancel, which is a counter, and I don't really like just pure counters. I think I would bring them in on sideboard if my opponent had things that I needed to counter, but I'm not hot on that. So blue actually looks decent with some decent tempo and evasion cards and some card quality and card draw. I don't love blue, but it is definitely a color that I would consider playing. With black, Skeleton Archer's decent. Sovereign's Bite is terrible, except in the most aggressive of decks. Two-Headed Zombie is not amazing. Lich's Crest is great in terms of removal. It just gets rid of whatever. And there's another Two-Headed Zombie. Mind Rod is not especially good. I might play one because it is card advantage, but you'd really have to be playing the right kind of deck to do it. Vampire Neonate, I think, is actually a pretty good card. I do like that. Demon of Catastrophes is fantastic. It is a bomb. It is a reason to play black. Another Two-Headed Zombie, which is still better than Infectious Horror, which is just straight up really bad. So I don't like that. Blood Divination is a way to get more cards, but you do have to sacrifice a creature, and you really want to have a token sort of strategy to do that, and so far black is not providing that sort of effect, so I'm not really high on it either. And Macabre Waltz is a way to get back some card draw as well. Card advantage is not great though, and so we'll put it back here. And so Demon of Catastrophes and Lich's Caress is the main reason to play black. Everything else is just okay, and I'm not really hot in it. The curve looks really bad as well, so if black can pair with something really well, then we'll play it, but otherwise I don't think it's for us. We have Dragon Egg, which is actually a decent card if you're playing the Aristocrat's Sacrifice deck, and it does reduce the amount of tax that you get because people are really afraid of you getting that dragon, and so that's something. Havoc Devils is okay as well. Lava Axe is only for the most aggressive decks. Electrify is really good. Anaki Ogre is, again, for aggressive decks that really have something to do with that 4 power. Smelt is entirely sideboard. Lava Axe, again, only for the most aggressive decks. Volcanic Dragon is a way that you can win the game, so I do like Volcanic Dragon a lot. Lightning Mare is a decent body. It's not amazing. It's just good and aggressive if you're playing a red heavy deck and want to be able to hit hard, or if you're playing against a blue deck, it's great from the sideboard. So, not great. I'll put it over here. Final Elemental is really just the worst of fillers, so we'll put that back here. Inferno Hellion is a maybe play. Again, it is kind of like a Lava Axe, but that one that can recur, and so I do think it's better than Lava Axe. I don't know if I played it or Anaki Ogre first. Trumpet Blast if you're going wide. I don't know that this red really has the means of going wide, so I'm not 100% down with that. And then Shock, which is decent removal. We'll put that over here. And Hostile Minotaur, which is an okay red creature. Not great. I don't know if it's better or worse than Anaki Ogre. So, red looks okay. There's some removal here. There's some top end here. And then the rest, it just drops off very quickly. And so I'm not psyched on red, but I do like the fact that it has removal. And there's one card, the Dragon Egg, that synergizes well with Demon of Catastrophes. Now let's take a look at green. We have a Thornhide Wolves, which is a decent fat body. Rock's Oracle, which is a decent body. Goreclaw Terror of Calcisma is actually almost a bomb. It's not quite there, but it's almost a bomb. It's a good body. It gets stronger, and it makes all your strong guys much stronger too, so I like that. Plummet is entirely sideboard. Druid of Cal is a decent rep. I like the Druid of Cal alright. We have another Thornhide Wolves. Bristling Boar I like as well. It's not quite Goreclaw, but it does only get blocked by one creature, which makes it a lot stronger. Vine Mare is decent, especially because you can't be targeted by your opponent's spells, and so you don't have to be worried about removal except through combat tricks. I do like Vine Mare quite a bit. Center Courser is a decent body as well. So far the bodies are coming in well. Greenwood Sentinel I don't love, but it is something that I might play if I need to. Naturalized again is sideboard. Highland Game is like the Greenwood Sentinel, not something I'm like really gunning to play, but it's a creature. Titanic Growth is a decent trick, and Colossal Dreadmaw is a means of ending the game. So green has a lot of really big bodies, and I really do like the size of green. I don't know what I'd play it with right now, because I really just want other big creatures to play this with. There's a lot of top end here, but there's not a lot that really says that you have to play green. And so, I mean, Goreclaw being the one example of a card that makes me want to play green. But everything else is just good, solid bodies, and something I might consider as a result of that. Magistrate Scepter is like really bad, and I have two of them, and they're both rares, and they're just not playable, I don't think. They're just really slow, and it costs so much mana to get an extra turn. I don't think it's worth it. Gargoyle Sentinels are pretty good. We have two Rogue's Gloves, and I don't think we're going to play them because you really need to play like a bazillion evasive creatures for this to be good, and I'm not sure that I have the creatures for that. A Manolith, if we're going to splash, I might play it, or if we're going to ramp, I might play it. Skyscanner is a card that I'm always willing to consider playing alongside these Gargoyles, and the Explosive Apparatus is a card that I think I might also consider if I'm short on removal. Marauder's Axe is a card I'd only play if I'm being very aggressive. In terms of two color cards, we have an Enigma Drake, which is only really good if you are casting a lot of spells. I don't think I have the means to be a spells deck here, so Enigma Drake is out. Brawlbash Ogre is decent if you're playing the Aristocrats deck, but again, I only really have one creature that I can just sacrifice willy-nilly, and everything else is going to be a negative value proposition, so I would need to be able to win very quickly, and I'm not sure that I have the means to do so. And so Brawlbash Ogre is probably not going to get played, despite the fact we have so much power in the Demon Catastrophes. I think the color that we're certainly playing is going to be white because of its premium removal and bomb. And from there, it's just a matter of what I want to play with white. As it is, the Militia Bugler wants you to play a lot of low drop creatures, but there's not a lot except maybe in blue, and that would be the one way that you could go, white and blue with a bunch of low drops trying to get in there evasively. Another option is to play with green and just play all the big creatures with it. It does make the Militia Bugler not as good, but it is some way of being able to get some power on the board once white's going wide plan stalls out a little. You could also play white with red. It's not the best combination in this case because, I mean, I do like the removal here, but there's not a lot of synergy between the two here. There's no real go wide strategy going on because there's not a lot of little guys and you can't be especially aggressive. And so I'm not really down with that. The Pegasus Courser makes me want to play with green so I can bash in with the big creatures. The other option is again to go with blue and just go as tempo-y as I can go. Overall, I think that the cards are asking me to play white and green or white and blue. And so we're going to take red and black out of the equation, even though they have the best removal of this batch. And with red and black being gone, we're just going to take out the Enigma Drake and the Brawlbash Ogre as well. That means that this fixing, it could be used. I mean, we have the Tranquil Expanse. We're certainly going to use that if we're going to play these two colors together. I don't think there's anything in black that I am considering splashing for. No. So, black is out. Forsaken Sanctuary is out. And that leaves us with white and green or white and blue. And some artifacts that we might play and some that we're definitely not going to play. So which is better? Let's go ahead and lay out these different decks and see what might be a better combination between these decks. Now white is something that we're definitely playing, so we're always going to lay this out. Alright, with white and green we get a bunch of beefy beaters and some removal. This doesn't look like a bad deck. I mean, Knightly Valor can just make any of these big guys much better. I think the Militia Bugler does lose some power in this setup. We also have some Gargoyle Sentinels and a Skyscanner and an Explosive Apparatus that we can play. I don't think I'd play the Marauder's Axe in this. And so this is something resembling a deck. It does go big. The Druid of the Cowl does help us get there as removal, and the curve is pretty good. I don't mind this. Again, the Militia Bugler is a bit weaker here because there's so many big creatures that it won't really be able to search out a lot. But everything else is pretty impressive in terms of its potential punch. Now let's take a look at blue and white. So blue and white is a bit more tempo-y and aggressive. As you can see, the curve is really low. There's not a lot in terms of high drops, and we're really looking at a thick set of 3 drops. We're also kind of relying on tempo and a little bit of card draw to get us there. This does not look as powerful, admittedly, and although there is good synergy here between the Militia Bugler and these 2 drops here that all have some sort of ability, and the 1 drops, I'm not 100% sold that this is really going to be the most effective of the decks, especially with Knightly Valor not being as powerful in this setup here. And so I think we're going to go back to the more plentiful green-white deck, especially with the Tranquil Expanse being a nice way of helping improve the mana in that. So let's go back to green-white and then make some cuts. Alright, how many creatures do we have? 22 creatures, 7 spells. So that takes us to 29. We'd have to cut 6 cards total. I don't think that's going to be too hard here. I think the Make a Stand is really more for aggressive go wide decks, so we can remove that. Now we have to cut 5 more cards. I actually like the Gargoyle Sentinels because they give us a means of turning the game later in order to fly over my opponent for the win. So I'm going to keep them. I'm going to drop the Militia Bugler here because we're not really going low power enough and go wide here. It can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the creatures here, and I think that's going to be a high miss rate, so I'm going to remove the Militia Bugler. So we need to make 4 more cuts here. I think in terms of 2 drops, we're going to get rid of the least useful of them. I think Highland Game is only useful against more aggressive decks, so we'll pull that one out as well. And I think Greenwood Sentinel loses relevance pretty quickly, so we'll remove that. Of the 3 drops, I'm least impressed by the Loxodon Linebreaker, and I'll just need to remove exactly 1 more card. So what card is that? I might get rid of one of these Thornhide Wolves, because they don't do a lot either. I mean, they're good fat bodies, and you stick a Knightly Valor on them, they're pretty impressive. I could also get rid of the Explosive Apparatus because it's not an especially good removal spell. And we have 3 already. And I think Titanic Growth is a little bit more flexible. So maybe it's getting rid of the non-creature artifact that I want to do. Yeah. We're going to remove the Explosive Apparatus and just cut down to these 5 spells and these creatures. And that, I believe, is going to be the basis of the deck. We have some options in the sideboard. And now let's see what we need in terms of lands. We have 11 white, 12 green. We have a little bit more white at the bottom. And so I think even though we have slightly more green symbols, we want more white just so that we can make sure that we're a bit more aggressive. And so with the Tranquil Expanse, we'll need 16 additional lands. We'll have 9 plains and 7 forests to get there, which will make 10 and 8. Here's 9 plains, 7 forests, and that is the deck. Let me know what you thought about the build. How would you have built this deck? Would you have gone Azorius instead of Selesnya? Would you have played red and black? Is that Demon of Catastrophes too strong to ignore? Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit like for me. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. Next up, I'm going to be taking these 2 decks and battling them against each other in a fight to the death. But until then, this is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.